If one wishes to record 1, 2, or maybe even up to 4 channels of data, there are a lot of options out there in the marketplace. But when we want to record 16 channels and have things like outputs and control as well, the Intec Instruments A16 SD is in a field not very broad. Now, it's very simple. The design principle of simplicity says that one should make things as simple as possible without sacrificing functionality. And that is what we have with this instrument. If we start the software, Intec MicroStation Programmer, we see what is ostensibly a very, very simple looking program. But the beauty of it is that it is simple. Don't be fooled by a lack of flashing lights and colour. It's very, very powerful. Let's say, for example, we want to connect to the unit that I have in my home. At the moment, just recording 2 channels of data. The logger records to an SD card. SD cards are obviously ubiquitous and they're large in capacity. For example, the card that I have in there is 1 gigabyte, and that will hold 7,800,000 records. Now, I currently have it set to log every 2 seconds, which is probably ridiculously fast, but just so I can capture a lot of data. So I've connected to the data to my A16 remotely. It's connected to my internet. It's connected to my network at home, my wireless network, and I can now upload the memory data. This can either be done automatically. You could set it to do it once a day, or once every couple of hours, or whenever you would like it to happen. Mine is just set to manual. So if I select the station and I click upload, we can see that the data from my logger, from my SD card, is uploading to my computer. Now, because I've set it to manual, and because I have a truckload of data, given that my sample rate is 2 seconds, this is going to take a little while. You can see it's telling me that 6 minutes and 40 seconds, so I'm not going to waste your time. But let's have a look at the graph of the data that I've uploaded previously. So here we have a graph. I just at the moment have 2 temperature probes in my home, the red line being in my office and the green line being outside. And you can see we've had some remarkably cold weather in Christchurch over the last few days. The last upload I did, which again was manual, was yesterday, the 11th of July at 4 p.m. And that's the data that I have there. Each one of these lines, the dotted lines, indicates when I uploaded that data. So at 4 o'clock I decided to upload this quantity of data. Again, just a good piece of simplicity, good design. If you were to display 16 channels at once, you would have a very, very busy screen that you could really not look at properly. So simply what we have here at the moment is channels 1 to 8 are displayed, and then we can select channels 9 to 16. So let's close that. From here, of course, we can do all sorts of things. We can print, we can export, we can do all manner of things with the data. We can change the graph scale to suit or make the graph automatic. We can do things like track it manually, have a look and move the cursor over points and read the exact data at that point. We can look at whatever period of time we want to look at. So at the moment, I think I'm looking at 76 hours, but I could choose whatever I want. 8 hours, for example, which is slightly more boring. If I go to user defined, I could select 5 days for the sake of argument, and display average, minimum, maximum. It redraws the graph. And just as easily, I can now export this to CSV. So this is in the memory comms mode. The other way you could You could do this if you so chose, would be to take out the SD card and read it directly on your computer. We can also program the inputs quite simply from the same program. If we switch to Station Programmer, we can now set all the inputs, and as mentioned, we can have 16 channels of pretty much anything. If you can log it, if you can measure it and it has an output, we can log it. That's enough for today. I will continue with more on getting data off this unit later, and with outputting 4 to 20, outputting relays, outputting multiple relays and analog signals.